Hi guys, thank you for watching my video for today. If you are new, please like and subscribe. Today's video is going to be about Tethered by Elayna Gallea. Um, this was actually one of my book club reads that I had read, so let's go. Okay, so Tethered is basically about a world full of, like, of course, humans, obviously, elves, different types of elves, um, vampires, werewolves, all that. Um, so there is this human girl that's probably about in her 20s or so. She ends up being forced into a marriage that she doesn't want to be in, with a vampire, that is a vampire prince. He is called the Prince of Darkness and everything. Um, and she was forced into that marriage. So was he, because his maker, his mother, he calls his mother, forced him into it as well, even though he doesn't want to and everything. With the other main character, the young girl, when she doesn't want to be part of that marriage because of what the prince is supposedly known for, like the gossip and everything kind of flowing around, that he tears people from limb to limb and everything, and she's kind of scared that he's gonna end up doing that to her. But she just pushes that aside, because of course she has to do it for her people, because it's mainly like an alliance. Her people ends up getting like help from the vampires armies and everything with what's going on. There's like various things that are going on around both kingdoms, so they're getting the armies from the vampire queen, and with the marriage between the Prince of Darkness and this young girl, and the Prince of Darkness and the Queen are getting some food and stuff for the humans that are in her kingdom and everything. So of course, when she ends up going up there to marry the prince, the the elf that kind of like marries them and everything, kind of they ended up being bound at first. That's one of the things that the vampires do, for like getting married and everything. She wasn't the girl didn't quite understand what that was. Nobody was sitting here giving her answers on that. So they did that, and later on into the book, after the marriage ceremony and everything, something that they didn't quite expect, he was like 30 feet away and everything, and he ends up collapsing in pain and everything. So did she, when she was talking to her maid that had came with her, the only person that she knows, and that she knows she can see, hear, and trust on everything and everything. And while she's having a conversation with that, she ends up falling, and of course the prince ends up falling, in pain and everything, and they end up finding out that they are tethered, hence the first book, Tethered. So they can't really go far from each other. If they do, they will end up sitting here crawling in pain, feeling like their insides are being ripped apart and everything. The only way for that to subside is to touch each other's hands, or touch somewhere on them and everything. They end up sitting here finding out that they've also, other than being bonded, that they both knew, they have been forcibly forcibly tethered that neither of them knew about. So the prince, he ends up sitting here trying to find the elf that married them, but couldn't find him. His guards that he trusts couldn't find him and everything, and which on my part I'm kind of upset about. Is like, why would you, like, in my opinion, that's kind of a cowardly thing to do. Like, you knew you were doing this, that you did that, and then you ran away from it. Half of me thinks it's probably from what rumors were floating around and everything about the prince, which the prince does kind of have a little bit. If you end up reading the book, you'll notice that he does have a little bit of a temper. So so does she, because she is, of course, a little bit of course, not the princess at this time. I'm just gonna call her princess now. So does the princess, because of course she's like knowledgeable, because she's what you can call a scholar on this thing. So both of them are, of course, upset at this priest elf guy, which I am too. It's just like, why would you sit here and run from that? But other than that, which I'm kind of curious myself, like, why would you sit here and do that to these people and everything, and all that, and a lot of weird shit had happened with that, and I don't know why they would sit here and do that, but yeah, so let's move on. Of course, now both of them are, like, of course, forced into being in the same room together and everything, and trying to figure out how to undo the tether, because that way they can just sit here like, hey, like, I don't like you, you don't like me, we both got forced into this. You can be in your rooms on the other side of the castle, I'll be over here doing my own thing. Which I would sit here and do the same thing too, because, like, I wouldn't, if I was bonded with somebody that I was forced into marrying and bonded to, I would sit here and want the same thing, like, okay, you over there, I'm over here. But now that they are tethered, they are kind of forced to be in the same room together and everything. So I would probably end up punching a wall if, not literally quite punch a wall, but I'll be a little bit upset that, I'd be tethered to somebody that I didn't want to be tethered to. But, of course, it explains what a tether is, and of course, same thing with the bond, is in the book. So if, from what I understand, the bond is basically just, a vampire's way of being married, if you want to say that kind of in a way. And tethered is, like, of course, a little bit more extreme. Like I said a little bit ago, the tether is basically literally tethering them together. So if you're a certain amount of feet away, like I said, you're literally sitting here rather in pain. Both you and the other person are literally sitting here half dying, half not dying. So yeah. And with that being said, of course, they're trying to sit here. Both of them are in the library trying to figure this out, trying to figure out how to, trying to find the loophole or find a loophole for the tethering, and how to, like, cut it off. But the only thing there was hardly anything really written down about it, because of course, vampires, they live a long period of time, unlike humans, where they sit here and write everything down, and which of course creates their history. And of course, when the prince and the princess are in the vampire library. They're trying to find this out, but there's hardly any records on it because, of course, since the vampires live a lot longer than humans, there's nothing really written down for that history for the vampires to go back to, like, oh hey, I don't know what this is, let me go see what this is, but they can't find anything on that. So, which is kind of weird because the thing is that they are like the second couple, you want to say couple, to be really tethered together. There was like one other couple that was tethered together, but that was like way before the prince's time, before he was made, and before I think even before he was even took his first breath coming out of his mom. But after he was born, I should say. So my opinion on this book, I kind of, for the first half of what I just said, so like with that first half of that book, it's kind of like I'm like literally on the edge of my seat, like what's happening, what's going on, what's going to happen next, blah 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 blah, and of course, and everything. Yeah, so back into the whole book thing. The prince, and of course going to his mother with the princess, trying to get answers out of the queen, but of course the queen is kind of a a little bit of a person that you want to see her and punch, but you're kind of afraid of her type thing. I can't really say any cuss words because, of course, of YouTube guidelines. So, let's just say she's just a bit of a female dog, if you know what I mean, if you know what the right female word for a female dog is. But, if you don't know what it is, just look it up. But otherwise, of course, the queen, just being her, didn't give them anything, and continuously putting threatening the princess, putting the princess's life online, like sitting here saying like, why haven't you joined her yet, blah 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 blah, because she knows that he didn't want to be forced into this marriage and everything. So she's quite a few times in their meetings and everything, she's like, why haven't you done this, why haven't you done that, blah 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 blah, I'll do it for you. But the prince, he sort of has like a soft spot. You'll notice that in the beginning of the book a little bit, that he has a little bit of a soft spot, especially for her. I'm just sitting here letting you guys know that it's not just because of the bond or the tethering. Of course, they don't like each other. They're just like, I don't know, blah 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 blah. But over time, they sit here and start liking each other, growing together, trying to figure out why they were tethered, trying to find the person that done this to them. They just grown to be friends, and then now, towards the end of the book, it's just like, I love you, like I love you, blah 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 blah, and of course, since he is a vampire, he has to eat like regular people and everything, and he can't just eat from any human. He has to sit here and eat from his bonded / tethered. Sorry, my cat's right here. His bonded mate, I should say. And of course the princess, since she's human, she's like, no, stay away, I don't want you eating off of me. Later in the book, she ends up caving in, like trying to save him, because if she tries to go get help, because something I'm not gonna spoil it, but later in the book, towards the end of it, he ends up getting hurt because like a tunnel collapsed, and they were in a tunnel, and the tunnel collapsed. And of course, he had a stake in his close to his heart, and of course, you guys know what a stake does, but she ends up she can't really leave him, because of course if she leaves him, the tether will sit here and go in and everything, which is understandable. Like, I wouldn't want to do that either. Like like I don't want you bothering in pain other than you already are. I don't want to either. So she ends up sitting here caving, feeding him from her. But at first she's like, no, blah, 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 blah. But she's like, okay, I'm offering. There was like, then of course that he ended up caving in and eating from her and everything, and then they were good. He was good. He was able to take it out and shot them out of there because they were kind of caved in. And come to find out that some people that he had put away was out and was trying to kill the princess for some reason. So, just kind of weird. It's just like, why? So they ended up, of course, going back to the queen and asked her about it, and she's like, oh well, yeah, because the queen is like basically like is basically the type of person that will literally sit here and make you quiver in your boots, from what I had gathered. She's basically the person that will literally sit here and make you quiver in your boots, quiver in your shoes, boots, whatever. You'll also sit here and notice that with the princess. Every time when she's in the room with the prince and the queen, she's just like sitting there behind him, like, oh my god, she's probably gonna sit here and kill me, which is understandable, because I would be the same way if I was in a room full of with two of the most powerful vampires, and one of them can literally sit here and snap my neck and snap my neck in an instant. So there's that, and then other than that, I'm not gonna say anymore. Of course, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and with the tethering, and why there's people out trying to hurt her, because there was another incident with her maid, which she really didn't make it. I'm just saying that much. The maid really didn't make it, so she's just like left by herself. Now she's like left by herself in a castle full of vampires. Nobody that she really knows. The only person that she really feels connected to is, of course, the prince a little bit, because they are kind of just like, okay, trying to work with each other, basically, like, okay, we don't like each other, but we also need to try to figure this out. So they're trying to do that and everything, and trying to figure out where the priest guy is that tethered them together, trying to figure out why they're trying to kill her, but that who's trying to kill her and why they're trying to kill her. I don't quite remember if they end up like finding out why they were trying to kill her, but sorry. But yeah, the book is a pretty good book from what I gathered. I can't wait to read the second book to see what else happens, what happens with the prince and the princess, and see if they find out why they were tethered. don't quite remember if they found out from the queen or not why they were tethered, but find the priest, figure out why they were tethered, why he tethered them, and figure out from either him or from somebody else how to, of course, break the tether. And another thing to add in, the librarian that's in the library they visit a lot at, the librarian, as I'm sitting here telling the prince, like, hey, you need to protect her, because he can like see in the future and everything. He's like one of those like, type of elves that can like see that person's future and everything, and he ends up sitting here seeing his and hers, and he's basically sitting here saying, hey, protect her. So of course he's doing what he can to protect her, but there's been, of course, quite a few incidents that kind of didn't. But other than that, the book is a pretty good book. I give it about a 10 out of 10. I can't wait to find out in the second book what's going on, what happens. Did they find like I said, find the priest elf guy, get the answers that they need, and everything, and see what their relationship comes from. So if you guys like that type of book, kind of like a romance type thing, like kind of like friends to and well, kind of like enemies to lovers, sorta. If you guys know stuff like that, or read Tethered or anything, let me know down in the comments what type of like relationship that they have. From what I understand, it's like kind of like enemies to lovers, since they are married technically. But other than that, I hope you guys liked the video. Like I said, if you guys are new here, like and subscribe. There are going to be more videos coming out here soon, so I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.